Hi, second grade. Welcome back this afternoon after lunch, recess. We have some fun activities and we need to get started so we can get it all done. And when you go home today, you might be able to tell your parents that you know how to beat them at a game of tug of war, or even your teachers, any adults. Field day, that might be the perfect time to challenge your teachers to a game of tug of war. Show them what you remember from science class this year. We have a few quick videos we need to watch from our mystery science lesson that will explain tug of war and the force with the pull in different directions from the adults and the kids. And whenever we're watching them, I want you to take note of how many kids there are on their end pulling the rope and how many adults there are. I want you to notice if there's more adults or less adults than there are kids. And if there's how many more kids you think. If there's twice the amount of kids as there are to adults, or vice versa. But first, you have some papers on your desks. Along with you each have a pencil, a roller. I placed a roller at each of your desks. You have your scissors there in your buckets, and there's some rubber bands and a piece of cardboard, similar to what a cereal box is made out of. You will be measuring with the roller a shape about like this, and then you have to make a few cuts in it. And then you also have a few worksheets on your desk. One looks like this. It will be the launch pad for this little cardboard design you're going to be making out of the cardboard, or it's also called chipboard, that I put on each of your desks. So this is the launch pad where we will be holding it, and we will be using this to draw some lines down our chipboard. And when we're watching our videos, there's just a how-to that will walk you right through it. You guys also have this high hop scoreboard or scorecard, and you guys are going to be working together. You should be able to do partners. I believe there's an equal number, so we'll just do partners, and there might be a group that has 3. I'm not sure when they'll be coming back from their activities they're in now. So we'll each launch it 4 times, and you guys are gonna note how high it goes, if it goes over the launcher's head, if it's below the launcher's head, if it just falls to the floor, if it doesn't go at all. And you're going to check that in here, if it's below your shoulders, if it's above your head, or if it's just to your head. And then we have a few questions at the end to answer. How do you think you could change the hopper, which is what they're calling this little contraption, a hopper, to make it go higher? Then they want you to try it whenever you, after you decide how you could make it go higher. They're going to ask you to try it and see if it actually worked. And then based on what you observed, how else would you like to change or improve your hopper? So these papers and all of your little doodads you have on your desk, just leave them there. Please don't play with them or touch them while we're watching our videos, just so they stay where they need to be and they don't, we don't lose them. They don't end up on the floor. And let me get our video ready to start. I will be clicking through some of these that are just directions for me, and so we won't be going through all of them, but we will be going through all of the tug of war ones, and then there's a walkthrough instruction for how to make our hopper. So we'll follow along with that, and that will give us step-by-step directions to ensure that we're doing it correctly. So here is our video that we have with Doug from Mystery Science.
Hi, it's Doug. In today's mystery, I'm going to give you 3 tough problems involving something called force, and I want you to think about how you could solve them. Let's take them
What do you
one
think
at
a
a time.
watermelon has
Here's
to
the
do
first
with
problem
this?
you face. Could a bunch of kids beat a bunch of adults in a game of tug of war?
What do
That
you
might
guys
seem
think?
impossible. I mean, what if the adults you were up against were all weightlifters, like her? Or what if they were all in the army? Even if you had a whole bunch of kids on your team, like 25 kids, you're still not going to come close to beating a team this strong. But this is a little unfair. I mean, adults like these devote their whole lives to being strong. So let's make it more fair, shall we? Let's say that you and your friends, maybe even an entire class of kids at school, are going to play tug of war against a bunch of teachers. then what would happen?
How many of you
Well, let's watch
think you
people
can
do
beat your
just that.
teachers?
This is a class
Let's
about to
check
play
it
tug
out.
of war against dozens of teachers at their school.
Notice
Okay.
the number of kids versus adults. Pay attention to everything you see, how the adults are standing, how the kids are standing, their feet, their legs, how they're moving. See if you guys notice anything that they're doing different from one another. Oh, there they didn't beat their teachers, did they?
The students put up a really good fight, but the teachers still won. They're just stronger. Now, you might think that there's nothing you could do to change that. The adults will just win every time. But not so fast. Let's think it through. You could think of tug of war as a game of pulling. You pull on a rope to make the other team move in the direction of your pull. The adults are pulling on the rope to move your team this way. I'm using an arrow to show the direction of that pull. Your team is pulling on the rope to move the adults this way. So I'll show that with another arrow. But the adults are way stronger than your team. So I'm going to show that by using a longer arrow for the adults' pull, meaning they can pull harder, and a shorter arrow for your team's pull. Shorter meaning you guys can't pull as hard as the adults can. The adults' pull is stronger, and so your team loses. So sad. Is there anything you could do about it, though? Well, you could get more kids to help pull, and if you got enough kids,
See, there's more
you could
kids
eventually
than there
pull
are
even harder
adults.
than the adults.
So that gives
That's
them
one way you
more
could win. But
force
the
for them.
challenge here is, could you beat the adults with just a classroom of kids? So let's pretend that you can't bring in anyone else to help you. You can't
Okay.
increase the overall strength of your group. Is there anything else you could do to win this tug of war against the adults? See if you can come up with some ideas.
All right. So let's skip through and see what we could come up with for correcting the force that the kids have that the parents, that the teachers do not. Let's see.
There definitely are some things you could do. What if you could put something slippery under the adults? Like a patch of ice.
Oh,
Now, maybe that's a little unfair.
you guys know how
but
slippery
let's
ice
think about
is.
it for a second. It would work, and that's interesting. When the adults try to push backwards against the ground, their feet would slip.
That
Now,
would for
another
sure
idea
make them
is
fall,
that
and you
could
could
also
win.
put the adults in roller skates. If you do that, now the adults are going to struggle because roller skates roll, meaning the adults won't be able to push themselves against the ground. Your team would have the advantage, and you'd win. So what we did here to solve this problem, to figure out how a bunch of kids could beat a bunch of adults in a game of tug of war, is we thought about not just the obvious pulling that's involved, but also the pushes too. By spotting all the pushes and pulls, we were able to see a new solution to a tough problem. As you're going to see today and over the course of the next
See
few
their
mysteries,
feet, the way they're
being able to
planted,
spot the
that
pushes
gives
and
them
pulls
more
around you is
ability
what helps us to
to pull
see and
harder.
do some amazing things. You'll see that pushes and pulls are actually everywhere around you. Just about every action you can think of is some form of a push or a pull. Think about it. A shove, that's a push. A stretch, that's a pull. Tug, smack, drag. You know verbs, right? Pick almost any action verb. Squeeze, pinch, yank, lift. You'll see what I mean. Think about each action. It's either a push or a pull.